Imagine opening an old jar of pennies, brushing off decades of dust, and finding a single coin that quietly connects you to post-war America. A penny that looks ordinary at first glance, yet carries a story most people never stop to hear. Today, we're talking about the 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a small copper coin with a surprisingly big history. The 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a 1-cent coin produced in the United States during a time of rebuilding, growth, and optimism. When a Lincoln penny has no mint mark, it means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, which, at the time, did not use mint marks on pennies. Millions of Americans carried these coins in their pockets, paid for newspapers with them, and dropped them into coffee shop tip jars without ever imagining they would still be discussed generations later. To understand this penny, we need to step back into the year 1951. America was only a few years removed from World War II. Soldiers had returned home, factories had shifted from wartime production to consumer goods, and the economy was expanding. Cars, televisions, and suburban neighborhoods were becoming symbols of a new American lifestyle. In the middle of all this change, the Lincoln cent continued its steady role in everyday life. The Lincoln penny itself had already been around for over 40 years by 1951. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. By 1951, Americans were deeply familiar with Lincoln's calm profile on the front of the coin, a symbol of unity, honesty, and endurance. The 1951 no-mint mark penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest mint in the United States. That year, over 1.3 billion Lincoln cents were produced in Philadelphia alone. That might sound like an enormous number, and it is, but mass production doesn't automatically make every coin common in collectible condition. Time, wear, loss, and damage slowly reduced the number of well-preserved examples. This penny was made primarily of copper with a small amount of zinc mixed in. Specifically, it contained about 95% copper. This gives the coin its warm reddish-brown color when new, though many have darkened over time due to circulation and exposure to air. When you hold a 1951 penny, you're holding a piece of real copper history, not the copper-plated zinc pennies most people are used to today. On the front of the coin, you'll see Abraham Lincoln facing right. His expression is serious but calm, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is the word liberty, and in front of his face is the phrase "In God We Trust." Below him is the year, 1951. The design is simple, balanced, and instantly recognizable. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design known as the wheat cent. 2 wheat stalks curve along the left and right edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above that is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This wheat design was used from 1909 until 1958, making the 1951 penny part of a beloved and classic era of American coinage. So why do people care about the 1951 no-mint mark penny today? The answer lies in a mix of history, condition, and collector interest. While the coin is not extremely rare in general, certain examples stand out and can be surprisingly valuable. Condition is everything. A 1951 penny that has been heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down may only be worth a few cents above face value. But coins that survived in excellent condition, especially those with original red copper color, can be worth significantly more. Collectors use grading terms to describe this, but in simple terms, the closer the coin looks to how it did when it left the mint, the more desirable it becomes. Some 1951 pennies also feature minting errors, which can dramatically increase their value. These errors happened during the manufacturing process and were not intentional. Examples include off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned on the coin, and double die errors, where parts of the lettering or date appear doubled. There are also coins with weak strikes or unusual marks caused by damaged dies. One of the most sought-after error types is the doubled die obverse, where Lincoln's features or the date appear slightly doubled. These errors are rare, and collectors actively search for them. Even a subtle doubling can turn an ordinary penny into a prized collectible. In real auctions and private sales, 1951 no-mint mark pennies in top condition have sold for impressive amounts. Circulated examples might sell for $1 or $2, but uncirculated coins with strong red color can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars. Error coins, depending on the type and severity, have sold for even more. These are not million-dollar coins, but they represent solid, real value for something many people overlook. Identifying a genuine 1951 no-mint mark penny is fairly simple. First, check the date on the front. It should clearly read 1951. Next, look just below the date area. If there is no letter like D or S, then it was made in Philadelphia. The coin should feel solid and weigh about 3.11 grams, which is typical for copper pennies of that era. Be cautious of altered coins. Some people try to remove mint marks from Denver or San Francisco pennies to make them appear more desirable. Under magnification, these altered coins often show scratches or unnatural surfaces where the mint mark once was. A genuine no-mint mark coin will have a smooth, natural surface in that area. Another way to spot authenticity is by sound and feel. Copper pennies have a distinct ring when gently tapped and a certain heft in the hand. Modern counterfeits often feel lighter or sound dull because they're made from cheaper metals. There are also some fun and surprising facts about the 1951 penny. In 1951, a single penny could buy much more than it can today. Candy, soda, and even small toys were often priced at just a few cents. This coin passed through countless hands during a time when pennies truly mattered in everyday transactions. Another interesting detail is that many 1951 pennies were saved by collectors even back then. People were already aware that wheat pennies were something special, especially older dates. That's one reason why higher-grade examples still exist today. Collectors love the 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln penny because it represents stability. It's a coin from a peaceful yet transformative period in American history. It's old enough to feel historic, but common enough to be accessible to new collectors. It serves as a perfect entry point into the world of coin collecting. For experienced collectors, the thrill comes from hunting for the best example or discovering a rare error hiding in plain sight. For beginners, it's exciting to realize that a simple penny could be worth more than 1 cent and carry a story that stretches back over 70 years. Today, this coin is also appreciated for its design. The wheat reverse is no longer used, and many collectors feel it represents a more artistic and symbolic era of U.S. coinage. Holding a 1951 penny is like holding a small piece of American craftsmanship that hasn't been repeated since as we reach the end of this story. Remember this: the next time you see an old penny, don't dismiss it too quickly. That quiet, brown coin might have witnessed history, traveled through generations, and survived long enough to land in your hand. The 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may not scream wealth or fame, but it whispers something just as powerful. It whispers history, patience, and the idea that even the smallest things can carry lasting value. And who knows, the next time you look through old change, you might discover a piece of the past waiting to be noticed. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, pulling one out at random, and realizing it was made during one of the most tense and transformative years in modern American history. A single copper coin that quietly passed through millions of hands while the world around it was changing forever. That is exactly the story behind the 1964 D mint mark Lincoln penny. The 1964 D Lincoln penny is a 1-cent coin struck in Denver, Colorado, during a year that many Americans still remember vividly. It may look ordinary at first glance, but this small coin carries history, culture, and a few surprising twists that continue to attract collectors today. To understand this penny, we need to step back to the year 1964. The United States was in the middle of the Cold War. President Lyndon B. Johnson had just taken office after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 would soon become law, changing the nation forever. At the same time, America's economy was growing, people were spending, and the demand for coins was exploding. In the early 1960s, the U.S. Mint faced a serious coin shortage. Vending machines, parking meters, and everyday commerce all needed more coins than ever before. To keep up, the Mint struck massive numbers of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. In 1964 alone, more than 3 billion Lincoln pennies were made across all mints. The Denver Mint played a major role in that effort, producing well over 1 billion pennies with the small D mint mark. The Lincoln cent design used in 1964 had already been around for more than 50 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. By 1964, Americans were deeply familiar with Lincoln's portrait, yet it still carried a sense of respect and tradition. On the front of the coin, you see Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the phrase, "In God we trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right is the date, 1964. Just below the date, if the coin was struck in Denver, you'll find a small D mint mark. The back of the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used since 1959. Inside the memorial, if you look closely, you can actually see a tiny seated statue of Lincoln. This detail makes the coin special because Lincoln appears on both sides, something unique in U.S. coin design. The 1964 D Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. This solid copper composition gives the coin a warm, rich color, especially when it has been well preserved. At the time, copper was still affordable enough to use in everyday coins, but that would soon change. Just a few years later, rising copper prices would push the U.S. Mint to switch to a different metal composition. That makes the 1964 penny part of the final chapter of the classic solid copper Lincoln cents that many collectors loved. So with billions made, why does the 1964 D penny still matter today? The answer lies in condition, history, and human behavior. Most 1964 D pennies were heavily used. They passed through countless hands, cash registers, and pockets. Over time, they became scratched, worn, and darkened. Finding one in everyday condition is easy. Finding one in exceptional condition is not. Collectors pay close attention to how a coin looks. A penny that still has its original bright red color, sharp details, and no signs of wear is far more valuable than one that looks dull or brown. These top-quality examples are known as red uncirculated coins, and they are surprisingly hard to find for a coin that old. There are also error coins from 1964D that attract serious interest. Errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process. Some pennies were struck off-center, meaning the design is shifted to one side. Others show doubled letters or numbers, where parts of the design appear twice. There are also pennies with cracks in the metal or missing details caused by worn dies. While these errors are rare compared to normal coins, they do exist, and when found, they can dramatically increase a penny's value in terms of real-world prices. Most circulated 1964 D pennies are worth only a few cents above face value. However, uncirculated examples can sell for several dollars. High-grade coins certified by professional grading services have sold at auction for hundreds of dollars, especially when they show strong color and sharp strikes. Error coins can go even higher. Depending on the type and severity of the error, some 1964 D pennies have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. These are not everyday finds, but they prove that value can exist where people least expect it. Because valuable coins attract attention, fakes and altered coins do exist. Fortunately, identifying a genuine 1964 D penny is not difficult if you know what to look for. First, check the weight. A real 1964 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it is significantly lighter or heavier, something may be wrong. Second, examine the mint mark. On a genuine coin, the D mint mark should look natural and match the style of the rest of the lettering. Added mint marks often look oddly shaped or placed incorrectly. Third, use a magnet. Real copper pennies from 1964 are not magnetic. If your coin sticks to a magnet, it is not genuine. Finally, look closely at the details. Blurry lettering, uneven surfaces, or strange textures can be warning signs. One fun fact about the 1964 penny is that it comes from the last year before the U.S. Mint removed mint marks entirely in 1965. That change was made to discourage coin hoarding during the coin shortage. For a few years, all coins looked the same regardless of where they were made. That makes 1964 one of the final years where mint marks still told a clear story. Another interesting detail is that many people saved 1964 coins when silver coins were being hoarded. Even though pennies contained no silver, they often ended up tucked away in jars and drawers alongside silver dimes and quarters. That's why so many families still have 1964 pennies today without realizing it. Collectors love the 1964 D Lincoln penny because it represents the end of an era. It's part of the classic copper cent tradition, tied to a pivotal year in American history and still accessible to new collectors. You don't need a fortune to own one, but the hunt for a perfect example or a rare error adds excitement. This coin also appeals to collectors who enjoy storytelling. Every worn 1964 penny once bought a newspaper, a cup of coffee, or a piece of candy during a time when America was changing rapidly. It's a small, tangible link to the past. As interest in physical history continues to grow, coins like the 1964 Lincoln penny remain popular. They remind us that value is not always about rarity alone, but about connection, condition, and curiosity. So the next time you come across a simple brown penny dated 1964 with a small d beneath the date, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look. You might be holding a quiet witness to history, a survivor of countless transactions, and perhaps, just perhaps, a coin with more value than you ever expected. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that almost no one notices, yet it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A coin so ordinary, so familiar, that it has likely passed through countless wallets, yet hiding within its simple copper face is a story of history, rarity, and mystery. Today, we are uncovering the 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that has intrigued collectors and coin enthusiasts across the United States for decades. The 1971 Lincoln penny is, at first glance, one of the most ordinary coins in American currency. Featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse or front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, it carries the same design introduced in 1909 and used throughout the 20th century. But despite its seemingly common appearance, a 1971 penny without a mint mark holds a special place in numismatic circles. It is not just a piece of metal. It is a piece of history, a tiny time capsule from a specific year in American life, and, for collectors, a potential treasure. Let's start with a brief history. The year 1971 was a time of change and continuity in the United States. Richard Nixon was in his first year as president, the Vietnam War continued to shape the national conversation, and the economy was experiencing shifts that would influence the metals used in coinage. Pennies minted in 1971 were part of the regular Lincoln cent series, produced primarily in Philadelphia and Denver. Coins minted in Philadelphia were not marked with a mint mark, which is why the no mint mark variety is the one most commonly seen from that location. Despite its seemingly simple origins, this coin carries several features worth noting. First, it is composed primarily of a copper alloy with 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that would continue until the mid-1980s when rising copper prices led to a shift toward predominantly zinc pennies. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, commemorating the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, which had been introduced in 1959. What makes the 1971 penny without a mint mark particularly interesting is its rarity in the collector market. Not because it is absent, but because certain variations and errors from this year are highly sought after. For instance, some 1971 pennies exhibit double die errors, where the design appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These errors are subtle but noticeable when examined closely and can drastically increase the coin's value. Another rare feature is an off-center strike, where the design does not sit perfectly in the center of the coin. These mistakes occurred infrequently and are considered valuable anomalies by collectors. The rarity and value of these pennies are illustrated by real-world examples. A standard 1971 penny with no mint mark in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents above face value. However, a 1971 penny with a strong double die error, or one in pristine uncirculated condition, has been known to sell at auctions for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For example, a 1971 double die penny in uncirculated condition was recently listed at a collector auction for over $1,200, a remarkable jump from the coin's humble beginnings. These examples highlight the importance of condition, specific minting errors, and collector demand in determining value. If you own a 1971 penny and are curious about whether it might be valuable, identifying a genuine coin is essential. Start by checking the mint mark, or the absence of one, on the obverse, just below the date. Examine the coin carefully under good lighting for any signs of doubling on the date or lettering, which could indicate a double die error. Authentic coins from this period will show consistent copper color, natural wear patterns, and sharpness in the design elements, while counterfeits may appear off in color, weight, or detail. For serious collectors, consulting a professional coin grader or using a magnifying lens to inspect minute details is always recommended. Beyond its monetary value, the 1971 penny carries some fun and surprising details. Did you know that during this era, pennies were being collected not just for their metal content, but as a way to document history? A single coin could tell you about the economic conditions, the minting techniques, and even cultural priorities of the time. Another interesting fact is that the 1971 penny was part of a series that spanned decades with almost no change to Lincoln's portrait, which means generations of Americans have grown up handling the same familiar face, linking past and present in an almost tangible way. Collectors today are drawn to the 1971 penny without a mint mark for a variety of reasons. Its simplicity is deceptive. While many see it as a common coin, seasoned collectors understand its potential for hidden value. The allure of discovering a rare error or a perfectly preserved specimen adds an element of excitement and adventure to coin collecting. Owning one of these pennies connects you to history and to a broader community of enthusiasts who appreciate the story behind every coin. It's not just about the monetary worth. It's about holding a piece of time, a reminder of the era when it was minted, and the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, whose image has adorned American currency for more than a century. Even more intriguing is the thought that a single coin in your pocket, your wallet, or an old jar of change could be more valuable than you imagine. The 1971 Lincoln penny without a mint mark serves as a reminder that rarity is often hidden in plain sight. You don't need to travel to a distant auction house or inherit a coin collection to encounter history. It may be right there, waiting to be recognized, appreciated, and preserved. So, next time you handle a penny, take a closer look. Examine the details, feel the weight, and think about the story it carries. Could it be ordinary, or could it be a rare 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? The difference might just be worth a small fortune. Remember, in the world of coins, curiosity can be just as valuable as gold. And who knows? The next time you reach into your pocket, you might be holding a coin that connects you not only to history, but to a community of collectors and a potential treasure that has been hiding in plain sight for more than 50 years. Keep your eyes open and keep exploring, because sometimes the smallest objects tell the biggest stories. One penny, one moment, one discovery at a time. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary at first glance, just like the pennies you see every day. But what if that tiny, copper-colored circle could be worth thousands of dollars? Today, we're going to uncover the story of one of the most intriguing and overlooked coins in modern American history, the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin so subtle yet so mysterious that collectors still search high and low to find it. The 1988 Lincoln penny is part of a long line of 1-cent coins featuring Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. While millions of these pennies were struck each year, most carry a small letter just below the date, known as the mint mark. This mark tells collectors where the coin was produced: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or none at all for Philadelphia. The coin we're talking about today is unusual because it bears no mint mark at all, but in a year when that absence was rare and unexpected, making it a point of fascination for coin enthusiasts. The story of the 1988 penny begins in the late 1980s, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies each year. Most were intended for everyday circulation, meant to be spent and forgotten. The Lincoln design, featuring a profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, had already become one of the most recognized coin designs in the world. But a small number of 1988 pennies emerged without the mint mark they were supposed to have, a subtle error that instantly caught the attention of collectors. At first glance, this penny might look exactly like any other 1988 Lincoln cent. It's made primarily of copper, with a thin zinc core added for durability, a combination that had become standard in the mid-1980s. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile remains detailed and dignified, capturing his thoughtful expression. On the back, the Lincoln Memorial is etched in fine detail, a symbol of American history and architecture. What sets this coin apart, however, isn't the design. It's what's missing. The absence of the mint mark, the tiny letter that usually identifies the coin's origin, transforms an ordinary penny into a collectible treasure. Errors like missing mint marks are what collectors call die errors. They occur when the die, the stamp used to imprint coins, is incorrectly prepared or misaligned. In the case of the 1988 no mint mark penny, it's believed that a small batch was struck using a die intended for Philadelphia coins, but somehow bypassed the standard marking process. This meant that a coin that should have had a mint mark simply didn't. While this might seem like a small oversight, in the world of coin collecting, such anomalies can make a coin extremely desirable. The rarity of this coin lies not just in its missing mint mark, but in its survival. Millions of pennies are produced each year, but only a fraction of these error coins are ever saved by collectors. Most circulate, get lost, or are melted down over time. This scarcity has a direct impact on value. A 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch hundreds, and in some cases, thousands of dollars from collectors who are eager to add it to their collections. It's a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary potential. Auction records and collector sales highlight just how sought after this coin has become. For instance, a well-preserved example sold in a private sale for several $100s, despite being only a few decades old. Another coin graded as mint state by professional grading services commanded even higher prices, showing that collectors are willing to pay a premium for authenticity and condition. While this penny will not necessarily reach the astronomical prices of older, century-old coins, its rarity makes it a modern collectible worth watching. Identifying a genuine 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny requires a careful eye. The most important step is to compare it with standard pennies from the same year. Look closely below the date. There should be no D or S mint mark. Any trace of an erased or tampered mark could indicate a counterfeit. The coin's color, weight, and metal composition should match those of other 1988 pennies. For collectors, consulting professional grading services or experienced numismatists is a wise move to confirm authenticity. It's a subtle difference, but one that can mean the difference between a valuable collectible and a common penny. Beyond its value, the 1988 no mint mark penny has some fascinating and surprising details. For example, while the Lincoln design had been in continuous use for decades, this particular error reminds us that even modern coins can contain quirks worthy of attention. Unlike older coins, which are often rare due to age and wear, this coin's rarity comes from a simple production anomaly. It's a reminder that history is not always about centuries. It can also be found in the everyday, in the coins we handle without thinking. Collectors love this coin today not just for its potential monetary value, but for the story it tells. Owning one is like holding a piece of an unsolved mystery, a tiny artifact that whispers about the processes behind our currency and the unexpected mistakes that can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's a tangible connection to the past, a reminder that history is always present, even in the smallest details. People who search for these coins enjoy the thrill of discovery, the satisfaction of spotting something unique in a pile of change. It's a hobby that blends curiosity, history, and the excitement of collecting. As we explore coins like the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it becomes clear that value is about more than just metal or face value. It's about rarity, story, and the human fascination with the unexpected. So the next time you pick up a penny, take a closer look. You might be holding a secret piece of history, a coin that tells a story far beyond its humble appearance. Who knows? Among the ordinary coins in your pocket, there could be a 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny waiting to be discovered. A tiny treasure that connects you to a broader story of American history and the enduring allure of the unexpected. History, rarity, subtle mistakes, and the excitement of discovery all come together in this unassuming coin. The 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark reminds us that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories. It's a coin that challenges us to look closer, to question what we know, and to appreciate the hidden details that make our everyday world remarkable. Collectors and curious minds alike continue to hunt for it, proving that even in modern times, treasure can be found in the smallest and most overlooked places. In the end, the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of curiosity, a piece of history that shows how tiny anomalies can spark fascination for decades. And while it may never be as famous as a rare 19th century cent, It carries its own quiet power, the power to make us look twice at the coins in our hands, to wonder, and to dream about what secrets might be hiding in plain sight. So keep your eyes open, because the next time you handle a penny, you might just hold a hidden story worth discovering. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary at first glance, yet could hide a surprising story worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. A coin you've probably seen in your pocket or your change jar, but one that, in certain forms, has become a treasure for collectors across America. Today, we're talking about a coin that might make you look twice at your pennies. The 1992 D Mint Mark Lincoln Penny. The 1992 D Lincoln Penny is a piece of American history in the smallest form. Struck by the United States Mint in Denver, this penny carries the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a symbol of freedom and perseverance, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, representing unity and national pride. On the surface, it might seem like just another penny, part of the billions produced every year, yet there are versions of this coin that are anything but ordinary. The year 1992 was an interesting one for the U.S. Mint. Lincoln pennies had been in continuous production since 1909, but the early 1990s marked a period of experimentation and attention to detail in minting. The Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse had been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, and pennies were still made primarily from a copper-based alloy, a mix of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them that distinct reddish-brown color. Collectors at the time were paying attention not just to the coin's appearance, but also to subtle variations, errors, and minting quirks that could dramatically increase a coin's value decades later. What makes the 1992 D penny intriguing isn't just the year or the mint where it was struck. It's the small differences that can set one coin apart from the millions of others. Some of these coins show what collectors call die errors. A die error occurs when the metal die used to strike the coin is slightly damaged or misaligned, leaving unusual markings or doubling on the coin's details. On the 1992 D penny, one of the most sought-after variations is the double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile appears slightly doubled, especially noticeable on the word Liberty and the date. To the casual observer, it might look like a tiny smudge, but to collectors, it's a hallmark of rarity. Another point of interest for this penny is its composition. While pennies today are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, the 1992 D penny was still largely copper, making it heavier and more substantial than modern pennies. This metal composition, combined with careful minting, means that finding a coin in pristine condition, with full luster and no wear, is increasingly rare. Even a penny that looks ordinary can fetch a premium if it has been preserved well or exhibits these subtle minting quirks. So why does this particular penny hold value? Unlike some coins that are rare because few were made, the 1992 D penny is interesting to collectors mainly because of variations and errors. A normal, circulated penny from this year might be worth only its face value, but a coin with a clear double die, or one in mint state with no scratches or discoloration, can reach significantly higher prices. There's a thrill in spotting these differences, knowing that what seems like a simple piece of change could, in the right hands, be a collectible gem. Over the years, real examples of valuable 1992 D Lincoln pennies have turned up at auctions and private sales. Coins graded by professional organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, in near-perfect condition can sell for hundreds of dollars, sometimes more if the doubling is pronounced or the coin is flawless. One striking example is a 1992 D double die penny that sold online to an eager collector for over $1,200. For a coin that once might have been spent at a grocery store, that's an incredible turnaround and a reminder that rare coins have stories hidden in their metal. Identifying a genuine 1992 D Lincoln penny with a valuable error isn't complicated, but it requires careful observation. The first step is always to check the date and mint mark. The D indicates it was struck in Denver, and it sits just below the year. Next, inspect the lettering closely. Look for any doubling, especially on the word Liberty, the date, and Lincoln's profile. Use a magnifying glass if necessary. Be cautious of reproductions or altered coins. The doubling on a real coin is subtle and uniform, not sloppy or uneven. Checking the coin's weight and color can also help. A genuine copper penny from this year should feel solid, with a slightly heavier weight than the newer zinc pennies, and retain a reddish-brown tone, especially if uncirculated. Beyond its value, There are some fun and surprising details about the 1992 D penny. For instance, this year marked one of the last times that pennies were predominantly copper before the U.S. Mint started switching to mostly zinc coins in 1982 and beyond for circulation, but copper pennies still appeared occasionally in mint sets. Some collectors also note that the Lincoln memorial on the back of the coin is incredibly detailed, showing tiny steps and columns that are easy to miss at first glance. Every time a collector inspects one of these pennies, it's a small reminder of the craftsmanship involved in everyday currency. Collectors love this coin not just for its potential value, but for its connection to history. Holding a 1992 D penny is like holding a piece of everyday America, a coin that could have passed through countless hands over 3 decades. Each small variation or error tells a story about the minting process, the people who handled it, and the chance occurrences that turn a normal coin into a collectible. There's a sense of discovery in every search for these pennies, a thrill in knowing that your change jar might hold something extraordinary. Today, the 1992 D Lincoln penny continues to be a favorite among numismatists and casual collectors alike. Its subtle errors, copper composition, and historical context make it more than just spare change. For those willing to look closely and appreciate the details, this small coin carries a story of American history, careful craftsmanship, and the surprising possibility of turning a few cents into a prized collectible. So next time you dig through your change or find a penny lying on the sidewalk, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking coin could hide something extraordinary. A tiny detail on a small piece of copper might just hold a story you never expected, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. The 1992 D Lincoln penny reminds us that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest surprises. And who knows? The coin you pass by every day might be more than just a penny. It might be the key to a discovery, a small but remarkable connection to history, and maybe, just maybe, a hidden treasure waiting to be found. Keep your eyes open, because the next 1992 D penny you see could be far more special than it appears. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that millions of people passed by without noticing, yet it hides a story that could surprise even the most seasoned collectors. Today, we're diving into one of the lesser-known but intriguing pieces of American numismatic history, the 1993 D Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like any ordinary penny in your pocket or jar, but a closer look reveals a subtle mystery that has drawn attention from coin enthusiasts across the country. The 1993 D Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which has been minted every year since 1909. The D mint mark tells us that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the 2 primary locations responsible for striking the vast majority of U.S. pennies. While most 1993 pennies are common and carry face value, certain characteristics make this Denver-minted coin especially interesting to collectors today. To understand why, it's helpful to step back into 1993 itself. The early 1990s were a period of continuity and subtle change for the United States Mint. Pennies were still made from a primarily copper alloy, but the rising cost of metals had already started conversations about potential changes to coin composition. The Lincoln penny, with its iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, remained a steadfast symbol of American currency. Every penny produced in 1993 carried with it the same design that had been familiar for decades, yet some of these coins developed quirks and variations during production that would catch the eyes of collectors. The 1993 D penny is composed mainly of copper, with a small percentage of zinc. It measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weighs just over 3 grams. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, his profile framed by the word Liberty on the left and the date 1993 on the right, accompanied by the small D mint mark beneath it. The reverse, a design that had been standard since 1959, displays the Lincoln Memorial in exquisite detail, with the words United States of America arched above and 1 cent and E pluribus unum below. At first glance, the coin appears ordinary, but collectors know to look for subtle variations that can transform a simple penny into a valuable collectible point. One of the reasons the 1993 D penny has gained attention is because of a small number of errors and unusual features that occurred during the minting process. While most coins were struck perfectly, some exhibit minor die cracks, double dies, or weak strikes. These errors may be barely visible to the casual observer, but to a trained eye, they can significantly increase the coin's value. Coins with these characteristics are rare because only a tiny fraction of the millions of pennies minted that year carry such imperfections. It's this combination of scarcity and unique minting quirks that keeps collectors intrigued. While the 1993 D penny is not among the highest-priced coins in the numismatic world, examples with verified errors have sold for impressive amounts at auctions. In recent years, certain well-preserved specimens with die doubling or other unusual characteristics have fetched several $100s, sometimes even exceeding $1,000 for coins in near-perfect condition. These numbers may not rival the most legendary pennies, but they demonstrate how even modern coins can carry unexpected value when collectors recognize something truly unusual. Identifying a genuine 1993 D penny with collectible potential requires careful observation. First, check the mint mark. The D should be sharply defined beneath the date. Examine the coin under a magnifying glass, looking for any irregularities such as doubled features, raised lines, or unusual textures on the surface. Authentic coins will have consistent coloring and weight, while fakes or altered coins may feel slightly off in weight or color. Additionally, collectors often compare suspect coins to verified examples to spot subtle differences that indicate rarity or error. While it takes practice, learning to distinguish these features is part of what makes coin collecting both challenging and rewarding. Beyond its potential value, the 1993 D Lincoln penny carries a number of surprising details that make it an interesting piece for anyone curious about American currency. For instance, 1993 was part of a period when the Denver Mint was experimenting with slight adjustments to the striking process, which sometimes produced minor die variations. Collectors find these variations fascinating because they offer a glimpse into the behind-the-scenes workings of the mint and show that even small, everyday coins can have hidden stories. Some coins also show faint evidence of polishing or planchet imperfections, tiny quirks that make each coin unique despite being mass-produced. Collectors are drawn to the 1993 D penny for more than just its errors or potential monetary value. It's a coin that represents a moment in American history, connecting the present to the past through an object so familiar that most people overlook it. Holding a Lincoln penny minted in Denver over 20 years ago invites reflection on how much has changed, from the economy to technology to the way we view everyday objects. Its enduring design, iconic symbolism, and subtle variations make it a favorite for both new and experienced collectors, bridging the gap between historical interest and modern collecting excitement. Another reason collectors cherish this coin is accessibility. Unlike rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s, a 1993 D penny is still within reach for many people. You don't need to be a millionaire to own one, and with careful observation, anyone can potentially spot a coin with unique characteristics. This accessibility helps fuel curiosity, as hobbyists enjoy the thrill of examining coins, comparing details, and imagining the story behind a small anomaly on the surface. Each coin becomes more than currency. It becomes a tangible link to history, craft, and chance. As you explore the world of coins, the 1993 D Lincoln penny reminds us that value and intrigue are often hidden in plain sight. A small mint mark, a tiny die crack, or a faint doubling can turn an ordinary piece of currency into a collectible with a story. The next time you reach into your pocket or sift through a jar of change, take a moment to look closer. That penny that seems ordinary at first glance might just be one of the subtle treasures that tell the rich, fascinating story of America's coinage. So, what hidden details might be waiting in your own coin collection? Could a simple 1993 D penny hold a story or a surprise that transforms the way you see everyday money? Keep an eye out, because in the world of coins, even the smallest pieces can hold the most captivating secrets. The next rare find could be just a penny away. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could be worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, yet most people have walked past it without noticing. A coin so ordinary in appearance that it hides a secret that only a few collectors know. This is the story of the 2001 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that has quietly captured the attention of the numismatic world. The 2001 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. This series has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage, with Lincoln's portrait gracing the obverse or front of the coin and the Lincoln Memorial depicted on the reverse for pennies minted from 1959 through 2008. In 2009, the series celebrated Lincoln's 200th birthday with 4 special designs, and from 2010 onward, the reverse shifted to the Union Shield. But in 2001, the coin was the classic Lincoln cent, familiar to millions of Americans, yet hiding an unusual secret. The 2001 penny was officially minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, represented by their respective mint marks, a P for Philadelphia and a D for Denver. Most pennies from Philadelphia in that year carry a subtle P, but a few rare examples exist without any mint mark at all. This seemingly small detail is the key to the coin's intrigue. While it may look like any ordinary penny, the absence of a mint mark immediately makes it unusual. Coins with no mint mark are often the result of production errors, and for collectors, errors can dramatically increase a coin's appeal and value. In terms of design, the 2001 Lincoln penny follows the familiar format. On the obverse, you see the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has appeared on the cent for more than a century. The date, 2001, appears just to the right of Lincoln's profile. Normally, a small P mint mark sits above the date, but on this rare variation it is completely absent. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the president's enduring legacy. Made primarily of copper-plated zinc, these pennies weigh just under 3 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters. At first glance, it is indistinguishable from a standard 2001 cent. But for those who know what to look for, the missing mint mark tells a story of a production anomaly that few collectors have seen firsthand. So why is this penny considered rare and valuable? Coins without mint marks from modern years are not common. In the case of the 2001 Lincoln penny, the absence of the Philadelphia mint mark is not officially documented by the U.S. Mint, which makes verified examples highly sought after. Rarity in coins is often determined by how many survived in pristine or near-pristine condition, and even a minor error can catch the eye of a serious collector. For the 2001 no mint mark penny, scarcity comes from its combination of modern production and an unusual error. Unlike coins from the early 1900s that are naturally rare because fewer were minted, modern pennies are produced in massive quantities. So when a production error like this occurs, it becomes an immediate point of interest for collectors who specialize in unusual variations. Real-life examples of this penny appearing at auctions have sparked curiosity and excitement. In recent years, certified examples of the 2001 no mint mark penny in uncirculated condition have fetched impressive sums. Collectors have reported prices ranging from a few $100s for circulated coins to over $1,000 for high-grade, flawless specimens. While this may not reach the astronomical levels of some classic rarities, it is an extraordinary value for a coin that is otherwise considered common. The market for such pennies is driven by numismatists who appreciate both the historical context and the thrill of owning a coin that is one of the few known examples in existence. If you're wondering how to identify a genuine 2001 no mint mark penny, it takes careful observation. Start by examining the area above the date on the obverse side. A genuine coin will have a perfectly smooth space where the mint mark should be. Counterfeit attempts can sometimes leave faint impressions or unusual textures that alert an expert. Additionally, the coin should match the standard color, weight, and dimensions of a 2001 Philadelphia penny. For serious collectors, professional certification is the safest way to confirm authenticity. Reputable grading companies can verify the coin's condition, the absence of a mint mark, and ensure it has not been altered or tampered with. This level of verification provides both confidence and credibility when buying, selling, or displaying such a rare piece. Beyond its rarity and value, the 2001 no mint mark penny holds surprising and fun details. For example, it is one of the few modern pennies that inadvertently captured a production anomaly, reminding us that even in the era of industrial precision, mistakes can happen. These mistakes transform an everyday object into a collectible treasure. Additionally, it connects collectors to a broader history of Lincoln pennies, from the earliest issues in 1909 to modern times, creating a tangible link between the past and the present. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary but carries a story of unexpected rarity and meticulous craftsmanship. This is part of the magic that draws enthusiasts to numismatics. collectors today are drawn to the 2001 no-mint mark penny for more than just its rarity. It represents the thrill of discovery, the potential for financial gain, and a connection to a tradition that spans more than a century. Owning such a coin is a way to participate in a community of hobbyists and historians who value both the artistry and the history of American coinage. Every glance at this penny reminds its owner of the care, skill, and occasional serendipity that go into minting the coins we use every day. It is a small object that carries immense fascination, sparking conversations, admiration, and sometimes even life-changing opportunities for those who recognize its significance. As we look at the 2001 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, we are reminded that extraordinary discoveries often hide in the most ordinary places. What looks like a simple copper coin in your pocket or jar could be the key to a rare and valuable treasure. For collectors, enthusiasts, and casual observers alike, this penny is more than metal. It is a story, a piece of history, and a symbol of the surprises that can still be found in everyday life. The next time you handle a Lincoln cent, take a closer look. Perhaps, just perhaps, the next extraordinary coin could be hiding in plain sight. The world of rare coins is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered, and the 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example. Its story teaches us to look carefully, appreciate the details, and never underestimate the value of something seemingly ordinary. Who knows what other hidden treasures lie quietly among the coins in your drawer? One day, the ordinary might just reveal the extraordinary. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that millions of people see every day, yet only a tiny fraction know could be worth a small fortune. A coin so ordinary that most people overlook it, yet so extraordinary that collectors are willing to pay hundreds, even thousands of dollars for a single perfect example. This is the story of the 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a modern coin hiding secrets that make it a treasure in the eyes of collectors. At first glance, it looks like any other penny from recent years. Copper-colored, small, and familiar, it carries the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a figure etched into the very fabric of American history. But what sets this coin apart is what it lacks: a mint mark. While most pennies proudly display a tiny letter near the date, marking their origin from Denver or Philadelphia, the 2013 no-mint mark penny has none. And that absence is the key to its story. To understand why this coin exists, we need to step back to the year 2013. By this time, the United States Mint had been producing the Lincoln cent for over a century. First issued in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the penny underwent subtle changes over the decades. In 2010, the Mint introduced a new reverse design to mark the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, featuring a shield that replaced the traditional Lincoln Memorial design. Every year since, millions of pennies rolled off the presses, carrying either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. These mint marks serve as tiny signatures, letting collectors know exactly where each coin was struck. But occasionally, something goes wrong. A penny might emerge from the mint without its mark, and these errors are precisely what capture the attention of coin enthusiasts. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny belongs to this category of anomalies. Physically, it's identical to the standard 2013 penny. It measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weighs 2.5 grams. Its composition is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, the same as other pennies made after 1982. The obverse shows Lincoln's profile, facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 2013 to the right. The reverse features the bold, simple shield with the inscription "E Pluribus Unum" and "United States of America." There are no design differences or unusual marks, only the absence of a mint mark, which would normally appear just below the date. So why does the missing mint mark matter? In the world of coin collecting, errors are not just mistakes. They are rare moments that make a coin unique. Each no-mint mark penny represents a brief lapse in the production process, something that occurs far less frequently than standard issues. While millions of pennies were made in 2013, only a handful were released without mint marks. This scarcity is what makes the coin valuable. Collectors know that a coin like this is essentially a one-of-a-kind moment captured in metal. Auction records and collector sales confirm this. While a standard 2013 penny might be worth a single cent, a 2013 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition can fetch hundreds of dollars, depending on its quality. Certified examples in mint state, with sharp details and no signs of wear, are particularly prized. Some have sold for over $500 at auction, while others, graded at the very highest levels, can reach $1,000 or more. The market for error coins like this is surprisingly strong, driven by enthusiasts who recognize the rarity and the story behind each piece. Identifying a genuine 2013 no-mint mark penny is surprisingly straightforward, but it requires a careful eye. Start with the date. Look just below the 3 in 2013. Normally, you would see a small D or P indicating Denver or Philadelphia, respectively. If it is absent, that's the first clue. Next, examine the coin under good lighting or magnification. A real no-mint mark penny should have the same sharpness and quality as other 2013 pennies, with no irregular scratches or tooling marks that might indicate it was altered. Many collectors also compare it to known authentic examples to verify the absence of a mint mark. Avoid coins that appear polished, filed, or artificially modified, as these are common fakes. Beyond its rarity, the 2013 no-mint mark penny carries some surprising details. For example, despite being a modern coin, it is already over a decade old, bridging the gap between contemporary currency and collectible artifacts. Its zinc core means it is lighter than older copper pennies, yet it retains a traditional appearance that feels familiar in your hand. Interestingly, these no-mint mark coins sometimes emerge from circulation years after they were made, slipped unnoticed into rolls of pennies and discovered by casual collectors or change hunters. Each find is a little treasure hunt, a reminder that even everyday objects can hide secrets. Collectors today love this penny not just for its rarity, but for the story it tells. It represents the human element in coin production, a tiny imperfection that turned an ordinary object into a collectible. Owning a 2013 no-mint mark penny is like owning a snapshot of history, a moment when a coin left the mint slightly different from the rest of its millions of siblings. It also allows collectors to engage in the thrill of discovery, whether through auctions, coin shows, or even their own change jars. For many, it is a conversation starter, a piece of Americana that symbolizes luck, timing, and the unexpected value hidden in everyday items. There is also a subtle charm in the fact that this penny, so small and seemingly insignificant, connects you to one of the most enduring symbols of American currency. Lincoln's face has appeared on pennies for more than a century, and the shield design reflects both tradition and modernity. Holding a no-mint mark penny in your hand can evoke a sense of curiosity, prompting questions about how it was made, how it survived, and who else might have held it before you. Every scratch, every gleam of copper, tells part of its journey. As with all collectible coins, condition is everything. A 2013 no-mint mark penny that has circulated extensively will not fetch the same price as one in mint state, unblemished by human hands or environmental wear. That's why collectors often keep these coins in protective holders, preserving their luster and detail for years to come. Over time, as more standard pennies remain in circulation and the number of untouched error coins remains limited, the 2013 no-mint mark penny is likely to gain even more attention and value. It is a modern coin, but it already has a story that feels historic, a reminder that rarity and significance can exist even in the smallest denominations. So next time you hold a penny in your hand, take a closer look. Examine the date, check for tiny letters, and imagine the possibilities. Among the millions of ordinary coins in circulation, a hidden treasure might be waiting. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than metal. It is a story, a rare error, a collectible that connects ordinary people to history, to luck, and to the enduring appeal of American currency. You might pass it every day without noticing, or you might discover one, change your perspective, and hold a piece of history that could be worth far more than its face value. In the end, coins like this remind us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes, it is hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look a little closer. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the most familiar objects can surprise us, and that the story of a coin is never just about money. It's about history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Keep your eyes open, because the next hidden treasure might already be in your pocket. Imagine holding a penny in your hand, a coin that most people pass by without a second thought. But what if I told you that one seemingly ordinary 2015 Lincoln penny could be hiding a story that makes it far more interesting than its face value? Today, we're diving into the world of the 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has caught the attention of collectors, hobbyists, and curious Americans alike. By the end of this video, you might start looking at the pennies in your own wallet with completely new eyes. The 2015 Lincoln penny, at first glance, looks just like any other modern cent in circulation. Its copper-plated zinc composition shines with the familiar warm reddish color, and the classic Lincoln design on the obverse has been a familiar sight for generations. But what makes this coin special isn't obvious at first glance. Unlike most coins minted in Philadelphia, which usually carry the P mint mark, the 2015 no-mint mark penny is a rare variation that offers a glimpse into an interesting chapter of U.S. coin history. To understand why this penny is so intriguing, let's start with a bit of context. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, celebrating Abraham Lincoln's legacy and the artistry of the coins themselves. Over the decades, small changes in design, metal composition, and minting processes have created opportunities for rare errors and unique coins to emerge. In 2015, the U.S. Mint continued producing pennies primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Denver carry a D mint mark, while Philadelphia pennies generally carry a P mark. However, a very small batch of 2015 pennies was struck without any mint mark at all, making them stand out as anomalies in modern coin collecting. The 2015 Lincoln penny features the familiar obverse design by Victor David Brenner, showcasing a profile of Abraham Lincoln. On the reverse, you'll find the Union Shield design, which was introduced in 2010 to symbolize unity and strength in America. While these design elements are not unique to this coin alone, what sets the no-mint mark variation apart is not in the design itself, but in the circumstances of its creation. Coins without a mint mark from Philadelphia in 2015 are extremely rare. This happened because a small number of coins slipped through production without the identifying mark due to a temporary issue at the mint. Such anomalies are often called minting errors, but in this case, it's more accurately a mint mark omission, a type of error that collectors pay close attention to. Another fascinating aspect of this coin is its composition. By 2015, pennies were no longer made of the solid copper used for most of the 20th century. Instead, they were struck with a core of zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This modern composition means that the coin is lightweight and has a slightly different feel from older, heavier pennies. While the metal itself isn't rare, it adds to the story, because the contrast between a modern penny and a mint mark omission makes it a collectible curiosity rather than just another coined at SO. Why is the 2015 no-mint mark penny valuable? The main reason is scarcity. Coins that appear with no mint mark from Philadelphia are extremely limited in number. Collectors and hobbyists know that these anomalies are unlikely to surface in circulation, and finding one is more a matter of luck than design. Even though the coin is only a few years old, its rarity elevates it above the typical circulation penny. The law of supply and demand is at work here. When something is both unusual and hard to find, collectors are willing to pay premiums that far exceed face value. There have been documented sales and auctions where no-mint mark pennies from 2015 have attracted attention. While most standard 2015 pennies sell for just 1 cent, the no-mint mark versions have been known to sell for hundreds of dollars in collector circles, particularly when graded for condition by professional organizations. High-quality examples in pristine condition, often called uncirculated or mint state, are especially desirable because every scratch, dent, or discoloration reduces the coin's appeal to serious collectors. While it may not reach the astronomical prices of classic rarities from the early 20th century, its value is impressive considering how recent it is. For anyone curious about identifying a genuine 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, there are a few key things to look for. First, examine the area above the date on the obverse of the coin. Standard Philadelphia coins will have a small P mint mark just above the last digit of the year. In a no-mint mark coin, this area is blank. Second, check the coin's details. Modern minting technology produces sharp, Clear lines in the design. Blurry or uneven details may indicate a counterfeit or altered coin. It's also wise to compare suspected coins against authenticated examples, either online or through trusted coin dealers. For those new to collecting, professional grading can provide peace of mind and also significantly affect market value. Beyond its rarity, the 2015 no-mint mark penny has some fun and surprising aspects. One interesting fact is that it challenges the perception that modern coins aren't collectible. Many people assume that only old or historical coins carry value, but this penny demonstrates that even coins from the last decade can capture attention. Another curious detail is the story of how mint mark omissions occur. It's a reminder that even in a highly automated process, human oversight and mechanical quirks can create unintentional treasures. Collectors often love tracing these small imperfections back to the mint and understanding exactly how they slipped through quality control. Collectors are drawn to the 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny for several reasons. First, there's the thrill of the hunt. Knowing that only a tiny fraction of these coins exist creates excitement, and finding one is like discovering a small piece of hidden history. Second, it's a conversation starter. Owning a coin like this invites stories about the mint, Lincoln, and the rare quirks of modern coin production. Finally, there's the potential for long-term value. As years pass, scarcity increases, and coins like this often appreciate in the collector market, especially if they remain in excellent condition. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may not be as famous as a 1909 SVDB penny or a 1943 copper cent, but it represents a modern chapter in a story that has been ongoing for more than a century. It reminds us that collecting isn't just about old coins. It's about noticing the unusual, appreciating the details, and understanding the context behind every small object. Even a coin as seemingly ordinary as a penny can carry a narrative of rarity, history, and human curiosity. So, the next time you hold a penny in your hand, take a moment to look a little closer. Examine the date, the mint mark, and the details of the design. What seems ordinary at first may actually be a modern-day treasure. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that rarity can be hiding in plain sight, and sometimes the most fascinating discoveries are right in our pockets. Keep your eyes open, because you never know when a small coin might hold a big story. Even as we wrap up, think about this. In a world filled with millions of coins, only a few slip through unnoticed, creating opportunities for collectors to uncover hidden gems. The 2015 no-mint mark penny is one of those gems, quietly waiting for someone to recognize its value and rarity. Will the next coin you pick up be more than just a cent? The answer could surprise you. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, so ordinary at first glance that it might seem like just another penny. But what if I told you that this simple, copper-plated piece could be hiding a secret worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Today, we're diving into the story of the 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that has sparked curiosity, confusion, and excitement among collectors across the United States. It's more than just spare change. It's a tiny piece of history with a twist, and by the end of this video, you might never look at your pennies the same way again. The 2019 Lincoln penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, is part of a long line of coins honoring America's 16th president. Lincoln first appeared on the penny back in 1909, marking the centennial of his birth. Over a century later, the design has evolved, but the core tribute remains. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, facing right, and the familiar inscriptions that declare liberty and the year of minting. Most pennies you encounter from 2019 will have a small mint mark, like a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, indicating where the coin was produced. The no-mint mark version, however, stands out because it was only officially struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and in this particular year, it carries a story that's more complex than it seems. To understand why the 2019 no-mint mark penny is notable, we need to consider the context of its creation. The U.S. Mint produces billions of pennies each year, and 2019 was no exception. These coins were primarily intended for everyday circulation, small transactions, and for collectors who buy uncirculated sets. What makes this penny unusual is that, while the Philadelphia Mint typically places no mint mark on its coins, there were reports of small production anomalies in 2019 that led to certain coins standing out to eagle-eyed collectors. Some of these coins show subtle differences in strike, color, or finish, while others appear entirely standard. What's intriguing is that a coin as recent as 2019 can suddenly become collectible not because it's old, but because of these slight variations. The 2019 Lincoln penny maintains the modern design that has been in circulation since 2010. The obverse features the familiar Lincoln portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions Liberty and the year 2019. On the reverse, the coin displays the Union Shield, a design introduced in 2010, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single nation. The metal composition is primarily zinc with a thin copper plating, giving it the classic penny color that many Americans associate with small change. What sets the no-mint mark penny apart, especially in collectors' eyes, is that it sometimes displays minor production errors, such as weak strikes or doubling effects, which can make it highly desirable in mint condition. So why is this penny considered rare or valuable when billions were produced in 2019? The answer lies in the combination of its mint mark status and condition. While the no-mint mark alone isn't enough to guarantee high value, coins that are uncirculated, flawless, or display slight errors can fetch impressive prices. Collectors are particularly interested in coins that are graded by professional services, like the Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, where a high grade can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a noteworthy collectible. In recent years, the 2019 no-mint mark penny has become more visible in online auctions and coin shows, drawing attention from those who follow the subtle shifts in modern coin collecting. Real-world examples show that condition matters more than age. A standard circulated 2019 no-mint mark penny might still be worth face value, but uncirculated versions can sell for $10 to $50 depending on the grading, with certain error coins commanding even higher prices. There are documented cases of coins with unique die variations or doubled features that have sold in specialized auctions for over $100, a remarkable sum for a coin that started as just 1 cent. While it may not reach the eye-popping prices of a 1909 VDB penny, its appeal is grounded in its rarity relative to the massive production of modern coins. Identifying a genuine 2019 no-mint mark penny is straightforward if you know what to look for. First, check for the absence of any mint mark, which is located just under the date on the obverse side. Next, examine the coin's condition. True collectibles are usually crisp, with sharp edges and clear details. Some subtle variations may include faint doubling on the lettering or shield lines, slightly off-center strikes, or an unusual sheen in the copper plating. Collectors often use magnification tools to inspect these details carefully. Counterfeit coins are extremely rare in modern pennies, but it's always wise to buy from reputable dealers or auction sites if you're seeking a graded example. Beyond value, there are fun and surprising facts that make the 2019 no-mint mark penny fascinating. Did you know that this penny shares a lineage with the very first Lincoln cents, issued over a century ago? Despite being a modern coin, it connects directly to a series that has seen dramatic changes in American history, from the Great Depression to the digital age. Some collectors enjoy comparing the 2019 coin with older cents, noting the subtle differences in metal composition, weight, and design precision. Another intriguing fact is that while the penny is often overlooked in daily life, coins like this one spark conversations about scarcity, minting processes, and how even modern coins can gain historical significance. Collectors today are drawn to the 2019 no-mint mark penny not only because of its potential value but also because it represents a bridge between the past and present. It's a coin that reminds us that history isn't confined to old artifacts in museums. It's in the coins jingling in our pockets. Collectors appreciate the challenge of spotting minor variations, the thrill of finding an uncirculated example, and the satisfaction of owning a piece of numismatic history that's still alive in circulation. In a world where most pennies are taken for granted, this coin proves that careful observation and patience can uncover unexpected treasures. Even more fascinating is the idea that a coin from just a few years ago can become collectible almost instantly. Unlike older coins that gain value over decades, modern pennies like the 2019 no-mint mark show that rarity is sometimes about production quirks, not just age. This keeps collectors vigilant and encourages a closer look at the coins we handle every day. The 2019 penny may not seem extraordinary at first glance, But with the right knowledge, it can spark curiosity and even inspire a deeper appreciation for the art and history of coinage. So next time you drop a penny into your hand, take a moment to examine it. Check the date, look for a mint mark, and notice the details in the design. Among the millions of coins minted each year, there may be one hiding that little extra something, like the 2019 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, that tells a story of meticulous craftsmanship, unexpected rarity, and the quiet excitement of collecting. Who knows? The coin you overlook today might be the treasure a collector is hunting for tomorrow. The 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is more than metal and paint. It's a reminder that even the most common objects can hold secrets. It encourages curiosity, patience, and attention to detail. Every coin carries the weight of history, design, and human ingenuity, and some, like this one, carry the thrill of discovery. So the next time you handle a penny, imagine the possibilities. A coin from your pocket might just be the bridge between everyday life and extraordinary value. Keep looking, keep questioning, and let curiosity guide you. You never know which coin might hold a hidden story waiting to be uncovered.